Secretive sect accused of destroying lives and tearing families apart. The exclusive Brethren wields political power and influence even though its members refuse to vote. But it's facing a crisis from within.
There are hundreds of stories of heartache in this sect.
Yeah, now, off the property. You're on the property, mate.
There is bitterness and anger.
Knock your block off. Hey! Now, what do you think you're doing? Who are you?
People are filled with the fear of God, that if they leave, that bad things will happen to them.
Don't touch the camera.
Don't you touch me either.
Australia's exclusive Brethren, 15,000 strong, insular, secretive and profoundly conservative. But are they also hiding an agenda that mainstream Australia should know about?
No, it is a church. It is a church.
Everybody outside the sect is to be reviled and hated.
Author Michael Bachelard, he says the Brethren have utter contempt for the outside world. Their leader, Bruce Hales, rarely seen publicly, urges followers to isolate themselves.
Bruce Hales, in one piece of ministry, says you've got to get an utter hatred of the world. They see the world as defiling and contaminating, and this is one of the ways that they put pressure on people to stay within the sect.
What's to hide?
There's nothing to hide.
Then why not let us in?
Well, we value what our church is. We value it very highly. We don't think it should be trivialised.
They've put up spokesmen such as Bruce Hales' cousin, Jim, to explain their views, but some of their practices have drawn powerful criticism.
I believe this is an extremist cult and sect. I also believe that it breaks up families.
Kevin Rudd and Greens leader Bob Brown have sounded warnings in the past, as have a stream of ex-Brethren.
Very wicked people should be ashamed of themselves, and it's just a cult.
Linda Williams, born a Brethren, out now for 40 years. Stan Collette says he had to leave his family behind when he left. It's called the doctrine of separation.
To put that much pressure on you that you'll come crawling and say you're sorry.
They fight trenchantly with enormous sums of money contributed by the Assembly to try to keep children away from their non-Brethren parents, despite the law of the land that children should have access to both their parents.
The worst thing about the exclusive Brethren is their separation from families. It's the way they separate fathers from children, grandparents from grandchildren. This shouldn't be happening.
Nari Thomas, also born into the Brethren. She claims the Brethren system created pressure not to report the sexual abuse she suffered at her father's hands.
I knew that if I came out publicly that I'd been sexually abused, that I would get the blame, that the perpetrator wouldn't.
Where you lived, what suburb you lived in, often directions to move to another city and live there, it was all controlled. When you leave school, you're employed in a Brethren business. So virtually from the cradle to the grave or the womb to the tomb, you are totally dependent on the Brethren system. To Dad, I do not want to have anything at all to do with you.
But even senior Brethren could fall from grace. Ron Fawkes was Australian leader once, but he lost his family when he got into trouble with the Assembly and had to leave.
My former wife elected to remain with the Brethren. Indeed, she was directed to remain with the Brethren, and because of that, I lost my wife and I lost my 6 children.
There's a long history of broken families and broken hearts as a result of this doctrine.
For his new book, Michael Bachelard has interviewed many ex-members. Along with the continuing anger and bitterness, he's unearthed a remarkable shift in Brethren thinking. Their current leader, Bruce Hales, is a reformer.
Under some of the tyrannical regimes that have been in place, many people have left and the Assembly has shrunk. I think Bruce Hales is very interested in keeping the Assembly as large as possible, and so he's really stopped kicking people out.
Along with more leeway for dissenters, a host of bans and prohibitions have been eased.
Garage door openers were devilish because they used radio waves. There was a prohibition on mobile phones for a very long time, until 2005. There was some discussion about whether cordless phones were okay. The skirts on the women are getting a bit shorter. Their hair is being cut now.
Many brethren are now allowed newspapers and email, but generally not the internet, TV or radio. Their private schools are excellent, though brethren children still cannot go on to university, where the devil also waits. And brethren women are still restricted.
They're not allowed to be in any position where they are in authority over a man. They're not allowed to speak in church.
But of all the information reaching public ears, the greatest damage to their cause has been the revelation they poured a small fortune into a federal election to keep John Howard in power.
Curiously, Bruce Hales has done us all a favour by going into politics in 2004. He's blown the sect wide open to scrutiny, and I'd like to think that in the future that will continue.
We asked the brethren for an interview. They've refused. But they have fired off a volley of press releases and a few lawyers' letters which specifically refute many points. But Bruce Hales, Brother Daniel and Cousin Jim are so far doing what they call flying beneath the radar.
And Michael Bachelard's book on the Exclusive Brethren is out now.